Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Dilemma, where we dive into the latest in tech news, trends, and tips. I'm Nick Dreyfus, and today we're tackling a crucial topic that can make or break your organization: why everyone struggles with cybersecurity and compliance. I will go over the top 10 points which make cybersecurity and compliance so difficult for all organizations, small, medium, and enterprise, so difficult to keep up with. Number one, it's developing a scalable cybersecurity strategy. It's only possible with the help of a cybersecurity expert who lives in this world to build the framework for cybersecurity that can possibly scale with the organization's growth. This involves layer security solutions from basic firewalls to advanced threat detection systems, ensuring security measures involve alongside the organization. This way, if you have grown, let's say 5% or more in a year, and you are doing the same exact cybersecurity posture as you were before, whether it's the hardware or the software, or even worse, both, those solutions, chances are, way behind for actual protection that you would need today to fend off potential threats that are coming in 2024 that are just hitting you with AI, because it's way more than it ever was before. Number two, prioritizing the risk management, right? So every organization has a level of risk that they are okay with managing. And that risk is going to be different at the stages that your organization is and the vertical that you're in and the type of exposure that you have. If you're an organization, you make very few phone calls and it's all email. Well, we know where to focus, right? So again, you have to look at all the different facets. If you're making a ton of phone calls or everybody's using cell phones, mobile device management should be a key of prioritizing that risk management and what you can put yourself out there in. Now, number three, addressing the compliance requirements with proactive policies. So this is a big one we see all the time, that people are trying to address the compliance requirements, but they don't put anything proactive that if X happens, like let's just say you do a compliance test of your organization and you have a third party come in and they do an absolute fantastic job of evaluating your organization, and they say you don't have any employees that do X, so this doesn't apply to you. 2 years later, you now have a full team that does what you didn't do before, so now you have no policy, process, and procedure that's proactive in saying, okay, when we start hiring a team, we can build this in place. And there's just nothing in there. So lo and behold, what happens? That market gets exploited, right? So GDPR, HIPAA compliances, those will come up and become a moving target on you unless you're targeting that proactively. Number four, enhancing employee security awareness. Now, the human error is the leading cause of security incidences, and experts can help develop those training programs and solutions that need to get put into place so that the human error, it becomes less and less of an issue. But the main point, if you get nothing from this episode but this, it's there are solutions out there that drastically reduce what potential threats can even come into your organization from the outside. There is absolutely tools out there that compared to 5 years ago are 100 times better at not allowing emails to even hit your inbox, making it so your employees don't even have to think about determining what they need to click on, or is this a potential malicious threat email or not? So that would be better than trying to drown your team out with monthly, quarterly, biannually, or annual training sessions that they forget 2 hours after that training session's over. Number five, building incident response and recovery plans from the outset. Again, with that proactive in mind that, hey, we're not doing a lot of cloud today, so what's that incident response plan based on most of it being on-prem or some of it being hybrid or completely cloud? You have to have incident response plans and recovery plans built for all of those different buckets. And you need to make sure that as you're moving more and more data into one over another, that's going to change that incident response plan. Because the more data you push to the cloud, now you have to make sure you accommodate the amount of time needed for a full recovery if it's done a certain type of way. So be prepared to look at those. And as volumes and data sizes increase or decrease, you're looking at that. Number 6, implementing zero trust architecture. Now, some of you, this might be a new term, but simply put, it kind of means exactly what it says. You're trusting nothing. It's essentially where you just block off the whole world from your organization and nothing can get in. And what happens is there's a human or some type of solution that's waiting for something to come in, a new connection to come in, and then the human decides, yes, this third-party application can come in. I'm allowing this to come in. But until that, we're not trusting anything until it's been verified that this is real, this is the third party, and I'm going to allow this from coming in. That can help drastically for organizations. Huge, huge benefit. Number 7, automating the compliance monitoring. This kind of goes back to that proactive piece where once you build that proactive solution, you can automate the compliance monitoring that it's checking and verifying those continuous compliance and security protocols that are being done. And it's spot checking all the non-compliancies or risky behavior in real time. There is quite a few tools out there that do a phenomenal job at this. And if you're a small business, it probably won't apply to you as much as it would a mid-sized or a enterprise. But that's not always true. You can have a one-person organization, and if you're dealing with high dollar amounts, this still applies to you, right? So oftentimes, again, it can matter more about the industry and the way you're doing business more than it does the employee size or even revenue or even just how you're conducting business. There's so many different facets that you need to look at your business risk, going back to that previous point, and determining what risk you can allow and then making sure that you're automating those compliancies as time goes on, because as you grow, it will change. Number 8, securing cloud infrastructure and the data itself. This is always the number one thing that ends up getting hacked and is vulnerable. And you wouldn't believe how many organizations I've personally been into and had great conversations with enterprise leaders, mid-size and small businesses, and all of them tell me, Nick, we have so many great policy, process, and procedures, and we have all this locked down. And I tell them, hey, this is what I see as a potential exposure, and this is where I would stop that gap. And then they tell me, yeah, okay, I think we're covered there. I think my tool, my solution, my provider is doing a good job in that area. I don't think we need any improvement. And lo and behold, weeks later, I get that phone call. Nick, you were right. I wasn't protected. I wish I would have said yes to you weeks ago, months ago, years ago, whatever the case may be. And it's literally just going back to making sure that your infrastructure and data is set in a place that it can be secure, whether it's in the cloud, in that hybrid, or even on-prem, it is set the right way. Next up, number 9, is integrating threat intelligence. So threat intelligence is a huge one right now. There's EDR, XDR, and a myriad of different products that can help with determining what kind of solutions that are out there are going to be a problem for you and your organization at that high level. And that's what you really need to go after, is what solutions can help me mitigate my risk at a very cost-effective rate, but then determine for me with my third-party provider, with my current IT team, maybe that works with that third-party provider, which usually is the best, make sure that those solutions are being protected, and we're looking for those behavioral heuristic data points from something coming into the network and thwarting what is potentially coming in, making it so your business is less likely to be taken over. Finally, the 10th measure, measuring and reporting cybersecurity return on investment. For decision makers, understanding the financial benefits of cybersecurity investments is key. Experts can help develop metrics and reporting structures to demonstrate how security measures and reducing those risks save costs in the long run and support sustainable growth. What we're referring to is, yes, I understand that these cybersecurity tools are going to cost the organization money. But more importantly, if you go down for a day, 2 days, a week, a month, 2 months, or you go completely out of business, what's that cost? And we see it all the time. There was a restaurant in New York that had to completely shutter business for a full 2 weeks and couldn't pay any of their employees because they didn't have any money coming in, and they hadn't been able to plan for it because it was a relatively new restaurant that came in. That's a problem. They didn't have any cybersecurity whatsoever anywhere except for a very small few tools that they thought were good enough. Oftentimes, it's just a very easy third-party check from an outside provider that can really dedicate themselves and say, hey, here's your potential threat vectors that could be coming in. Let's determine if these are the right fits for you. Here's what the cost would be. Does that make sense for the business? If it costs too much, then you have to assume that business risk. And it can happen at any time. But if you can afford it, you're preventing something from potentially happening, or at least massively reducing that risk. And now you can move forward and sleep a little better at night. So thanks again for listening to The Digital Dilemma. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with friends. Let's drive our businesses forward together. We'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on any technology needs or wants you or your organization has. So drop us a line on social media or leave a comment. I am Nick Dreyfus, and this has been The Digital Dilemma. See you next time.